G'day, it's Rob here again. Well, I've decided to move on from my last video where I machined up this knob and filled in the centre of the bolt hole with some aluminium from these aluminium brazing rods you can buy. They've been around for ages, you know. I mean, I've had these for 20, 30 years, I suppose. And if you ever go to farm fairs, field days, they always, you know, there's always a stall there with these guys with a drink can with a hole in the bottom, and they patch up the can with the rod, you know. And it's all wonderful. And anyway, I bought these years ago and never used them, so I thought, oh, I'll have a play. So I tried filling in the hole on the knob I've machined up with it, and it sort of worked. I filled in the hole, but it didn't bond to the aluminium, so I was obviously doing something wrong, or they weren't working too good. You know, I got a lot of interest in the video. A lot of people got onto me and heaps of comments, and it turns out I was doing everything wrong. So I finally got out the instructions and I read them properly. I mean, I had read them, but it was a bit quick, I got to admit. And this is the stuff. Techni 2000, pretty hot stuff. Does everything. It's a miracle rod, you know. Whoa, the knob just fell off. Okay, that's even more serious. All right, where are we? Yeah, so I've got to move on with this and get these rods to work, you know, test them out a bit. So I thought, all right, I'll read the instructions, I'll listen to what people say, and basically I should have been using a wire brush, stainless wire brush, to clean the surface area before I heat it, and after I've heated it, give it another rub over. And also when I heat the job, you know, say this is the job, well, if the hole's here, we'll heat it over here so you don't get the flame pattern anywhere where the rod is going to go, you know. So that was another thing I did wrong. So well, anyway, this time round, I think I've got it all squared away. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Come for the ride. This is a stainless steel brush. That's the sort of demonstration you would get at the field day. It's still liquid. It looks like it's worked pretty good. So that's the demo you would get. They'd rub it with a stainless steel brush and then they just heat it up and then wipe the rod on it, just, you know. I mean, it's got a bit of depression in the middle. It's hardened off. Yeah, can see it's hard now. Aluminium is an old heat sink off of an old inverter. I'm just using that as the test basis. So that worked alright. So that is high grade aluminium. Alright, let's take it, cool it down under the tap so we can have a good look at it. Now on the back, you can see where it's, in the back here you can see where it's come through. I'll give it a whack with a hammer after and see if it knocks off. But it looks okay, I mean it looks good actually, you know. It's not bad. Alright, we'll cool it down. So as I said, that's the demonstration you would get at a field day. They do that on a drink can and it'll come up looking just like that. Now we'll see if we can punch it out. See what happens. Yes, you can, you see. It folds back. So even though it's welded onto it, it's not terribly strong. It's torn the actual filler material, so it actually has bonded, but it didn't take a lot to tap it off. I mean, the way they do it is they always hit down from the top, so you're hitting into the hole, and of course, you know, that's going to make it seem to be stronger. So I think it's about time we moved on to some of Rob's home cast aluminium to see if there's any difference. Now, first off, I'll wire buff on top of this edge here and just try and smear it on, you know, see if it will wipe on like it wiped onto the other aluminium. So that's going to be the first thing. Give it a good clean, like the man says. Straight away you can see this is a lot harder aluminium than that soft stuff I did previously. Way, way harder. But we'll get on with it and see what happens. So we can see that it does not like Rob's home brewed aluminium. You can see, I mean, that's moving around like it should, but there's an enormous amount of heat in this aluminium, but you can see it's just not bonding at all. Look at that, it's just you know, floating on top. So it's bonding to my screwdriver. It's actually bonding better to the screwdriver than it is to the aluminium. So I mean, that's why it didn't hold on that last job. It does not like this aluminium. We'll let it cool down and we'll see, but I expect that that'll just lift straight off, the same as it did last time. Whereas, you know, here it is sticking to the screwdriver. So it's actually, you know, as I said, it's bonding better to the steel than it is to the aluminium. You can see that it's still liquid after, you know, good 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. So it's got no intention of bonding to this aluminium. As you can see, it's just Just floating around, just, you know, killing time, waiting for the camera batteries to run out. So that's why I had a fail last time. Now, I'm not saying these rods aren't any good, but they're no good for this aluminium. Probably because this is a harder aluminium. Softer stuff like that heat sink aluminium and maybe die cast aluminium, different matter. So, that's where we're at. Yep. Let's just see what happens. I mean, it's there, it's sitting there, but get a little cold chisel under it and just see what happens. It has stuck. It's made a liar of me. No, it hasn't. It's coming off. Oh dear, naughty thing. But it has stuck pretty well. I mean, that would be serviceable. I'm going to use a good whack with the old cold chisel, so it's hanging on there. It's hanging on there, I've got to say. We're coming close. It has stuck. But it is coming off with a bit of persuasion. It stuck better in that spot than over here. So overall, you know, that would hold something together. But it's certainly not TIG standard, let's put it that way. After filling a hole and lightweight, you know, low stress work, relatively low stress, yeah, it's got some uses, I can see that. So let's dig a little bit deeper. Here we've got some aluminium that's been snapped off. Now this is exactly, I think, the sort of application that this should be good at, because you've got a fair bit of porosity there. We'll wire brush it with our magic stainless steel brush. 3 of these from Bunnings for $5, I think it was. It was a good buy. There you go. Alright, let's get the magic rod going again. Aluminium. Oh, really had a disaster. Oh. Discontinue this experiment because the base metal was starting to get horribly soft. So this aluminium is obviously very close to this rod. So whatever's in this is what this rod is probably composed of. You can see it was taking. It's not going to do its thing because Big Brother's sagging under the strain here. That's interesting. Obviously there's a lot of difference between the melting points of all these aluminiums. These 3 here are obviously not the same. So the characteristics of the aluminium obviously have got a lot to do with how this is going to work, if it's going to work. I'm not writing this off, I'm saying these are quite useful rods, but within limitations. Alright, well that's it from me. Yeah, that was all pretty exciting. So I might do a bit more on this down the track to see what people think. They can comment. I think I did everything according to what the instructions say. I did read the instructions, they have some, and I did exactly what they said. All good stuff. Okay, that's it from me. See you next time. Cheers.